everybody, welcome. Thank you so much for letting us have part of your time. I want to congratulate each and every one of you for everything that you bring to the sport. And I'm excited to bring to you really important information about our sport. I first wanted to share with you what our goals are. Today is really to build awareness, give you insight from, I'm going to be your moderator / coach perspective person. And we wanted to bring this topic to your attention from the lens of a doctor that works in the space, from a parent perspective, and then also from a student athlete. So before we do that, I think it's important to connect all the dots because we're throwing a lot of information at you and a lot of groups have come together. So if I could, I'm going to go ahead and advance the slide. You'll notice that some of our branding has to do with listening, learning, and loving. And what that simply means is our group that has come together called HAWK. It's an acronym. It stands for Health and Wellness Consortium. Our consortium is just a group of influencers. I want to share with you, we're not a business, we're not a nonprofit, but we're a group of influencers, many of you are in the room today, to provide resources to kick back to all of you for free. That's our goal. Our goal is to tackle our relevant challenges and deliver them to you, because many of you said, hey, I raised my hand, I volunteered to coach, but we all sense that there's something else happening here, that we have a bigger role in terms of influence and leadership. So the HAWK group has partnered with HOPE. With HOPE is a health and wellness group that's providing services and content, so we've partnered with them. We also have with us Emma's mom and dad, and we're partnering with the Emma Pangelinan Memorial Foundation. And we've partnered with this wonderful tournament. And so we have lots of groups together here, along with One Softball, which I'm the founder of, and our job is to try to connect our best in class to our youth community, so there's one direct line. So the panel today, I want to break that down. The coach in me is going to come out a little bit, and I just want to share with you our goal is to show you how our communities can come together, to be able to also, in the first segment, talk about the global issue of student-athlete mental health and wellness. And then we're going to try to do some live polling, because you can never have enough technology. So we'll go ahead and tackle some live polling with you, so keep your phone close. And then after that, we're going to actually give you some tips that you can actually implement into your practices and your games immediately, because we know talking about a topic like this can be somewhat difficult. How do you engage this with your team? Our goal is to just try to give you insight, awareness, and give you a call to action that's doable. So on that note, I'm going to take this time to introduce the panel with each perspective, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to first start with Dr. Cooper down at the end. They're going to introduce themselves and give you a little bit of their perspective on this issue overall. Dr. Cooper?
All right, good. Thank you so much. My name is Dr. Casey Cooper. I am a licensed sports psychologist based out of Orange County, California. Yeah, because top-headed athletics, right? No pressure there. And this is a topic near and dear to my heart, and I am honored to be here with you all today. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Pangelinan. I am Emma's mother. First, I just wanted to thank the softball community for all their support to our family these last 5.5 months. I love this game, so we are grateful for all you guys' support.
Hi, I'm Colleen Sullivan. I play on the 18U Baptistry team, and I'm going to UCLA in the fall. And this is another topic, too, that I have gone through firsthand, the pressures of being in the softball community. So I'm so grateful to be here for this opportunity and to give you a little insight, because sometimes it's not always easy to get into the heads of the girls that you're facing and the people that you're interacting with. So hopefully we can help a little bit with that from my perspective.
And we're going to go ahead and first start at the top. Many of you know that having this topic discussed, there's a bandwidth that you experience. There's first possible just anxiety, performance anxiety. Then from there, you can get to more of a deeper anxiety throughout your life. And then you can be that person that suffers from perfectionism. And then some can be vulnerable to mental depression. So I'd like to go ahead and pass it back to you and have you talk about some really important areas that we may not be aware of and also can enlighten all of us. Dr. Cooper.
Absolutely. So let's start with what's new in the sport, because perfectionism and expectations, those aren't new, right? We all experienced those when we were young. Let's talk about Gen Z. This is someone who was born 1995 through 2012. So basically everyone you're coaching, right? All right. So we're going to play a little game. Everyone stand up. Please. Everybody. Every single person. All right. You all represent, at this moment, a population of Gen Z kids age 8. You're just introduced to this sport of softball. So smile. It's all fun, right? You're so excited. All right. Now, half of every table, take a seat. Besides the half of you, but half of every table. Okay, the half of you remaining standing. You're 2 years older. You're 10 years old. And guess what? Every single one of you, you represent the perfectionism of Gen Z. That's right. Not only do Gen Zers believe that perfectionism is great and going to help them achieve their peak performances, they believe it is reasonable and possible. Half of you. Now, 2 people from every, or let's see, now just 1 person at every table sit down. Remember how full this room looked? This room looked really full when we started, right? At the end of middle school, this is all we're left with. We have lost everyone else. When you were out of middle school, these are the perfectionists the sports have left. Now, just 2 people remaining at every table, please. Yeah. If you don't think that mental health is an issue that student athletes deal with because they're so tough, then again, our most recent data regarding Gen Z says that 25 to 30% of all student athletes require not just assistance, but psychological treatment for depression. You represent the athletes left who need services like mine. Not just a pat on the back. This is significant. Thank you all for participating, but I wanted you to feel it. We go from everyone smiling to 25% needing treatment at a clinical level. Does that help, Coach?
Well, it sets the tone, and for all of us, I know this is very tricky in the sense that because we talk about mental health, even from I'm going to speak from a college coach perspective, we have lots of resources around us that protect us as college coaches. We can just deflect it right down to sports medicine and sports psych, and they take care of it. But for you, I just want to say personally, thank you to all of you who are wearing so many hats. You're the dad, many of you are the mom, and you're the leader of the team, you're the fundraiser for the team, and now we're asking you to do even more. So our job, people on this panel, our job is to give you the information that frees you up so you can just be the messenger, both from a clinical side, how do we go ahead and get the help that's needed, and then also contextually, meaning we need to give you resources that will fit inside your softball environment for your parents and for your student athletes. And so what I'd like to do is just shift down, and I'd like to go to our next perspective, which is our parent perspective. And at this time, I'd just love for you to just have an opening statement, Lisa, and share with us what's most important to you right now. And I know a lot of people, are like, hey, gosh, how's she doing? Now, how's the family doing? And I think what's so powerful is that you have such a desire to share your story because you know it's going to help other parents and other teams. So the microphone's yours. Thank you for having the courage to be here. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. As you guys can see from the video, Emma she was a parent's dream, she was a coach's dream, she was smart, she was athletic, she was also a perfectionist. She did not accept mistakes on the field, so, I'm sure most of you coaches would love a kid like that. We thought that was not a bad quality. I mean, that's a kid that wants to work hard and play her best and do well. Unfortunately, we learned after losing her that those were the warning signs. That's a very dangerous pattern. And what I can suggest to you guys as coaches, if you have a player that picks and overanalyzes and can't handle a mistake on the field, that is a warning sign. And I want you to pay attention to that, because that is huge. We as parents, we never criticized Emma. We got in the car, we told her great job. She would pick on everything. And we'd say, you had a great game, what are you talking about? And she's like, oh, this, and she would just tear herself apart. And not every time, but often. And we'd say, no, you had a great game, and she would just sit there and think about that. So what I've learned, unfortunately, after the fact was those were all warning signs. So.
And I think what's important too is many of us we're thinking inside, were we people that thought about people that have taken their life? Do we say, oh, that's a character flaw, there's something missing there? And what we have to now know that that's not the case. This isn't something that we should continue to stuff into the closet. That we need to look at mental health like a sprained ankle, like a migraine. We need to tackle it, and we want to create the conditions. You have so much power. I'd like to share from a college coach perspective. When we do the entrance interview with the freshman student athletes, they say their single greatest voice of influence outside their mom and dad is their travel coach. So let's use this as an opportunity to celebrate the power and the opportunity that you have, but we also respect the challenges that you have because you're managing 15 to 20 kids. So once again, I can't thank you enough for being here and taking the time to tackle this. That it's okay to create the conditions for student athletes to say, I'm maybe a little overwhelmed. We want to create those conditions in our practices. When Louie and Lisa came into my life through Emma, I had 3 of my student athletes that called me, that played for me at UCLA, and said, Coach, I never told you that I was suffering inside with perfectionism. And I want to continue to help this momentum and this campaign around let's address it, let's tackle it, let's make sure that our student athletes know that they're okay. Next, it's important to talk about the student athlete. And I'm proud that we've got a current student athlete that's just completed the recruiting cycle. She's committed to go to college, but she's here to share, let us get behind the curtain of a current day student athlete. So join me in thanking, we've got Colleen Sullivan here to help us get behind the life of a Gen Z.
Hi. So this is a little bit of my story because I was also someone who struggled with that perfectionist anxiety. So as an athlete who's been playing this game for almost 11 years now, perfectionism is ingrained in how I function as a person. Even in rec, softball was never a pastime or a vacation. It was always, to me, it was a business. At 8 was the first time that I actually had a coach talk to me about playing in college. An 8-year-old at 8 you thinking about what I was going to do in the next 10 years. 11 and 12 was when I had my first recruiters at a game, scouting me for what I was going to be in the future. And then at 14, I was sitting there in the office deciding that I was going to go to a college when I couldn't tell you what I was going to do with the rest of my life. It's such a short window that's matched with the immaturity of the age that we have here in this sport that really creates this no margin for error kind of attitude. And what's great is that the pressure that's put on you is what helps you achieve. I mean, I wouldn't be where I am today without the pressure that was put on me to succeed. But one thing that I find with the sport is that sometimes it's too easy for players to become objects. A lot of the times we are created to secure financial stability for our parents through my scholarship or maybe help with the notoriety of our coach. But the player's relationship to the game can become more of a business transaction. Where success becomes necessary even though we're playing this game that's a game of failure if you look at the statistics. And for me, personally, I let this attitude translate into my personal life. And this is not something that softball did to me. But I just want to share this so that maybe you can recognize this in some of your athletes that you might be able to see and that you can help them so that it doesn't internalize. So for me personally, during my recruiting process, I struggled at home with issues like the divorce of my parents. But because I had internalized perfection, I thought that their separation was due to my failure, that I wasn't a good kid, that I was creating some kind of issue at home. And unfortunately, I let this fester to a point where I actually had suicidal tendencies and thoughts. And I know that a lot of people might not be able to understand the gravity of that, but for someone who dwells on how to be perfect, it can become crushing in a way. Even later in my high school years, I created an obsession with body image because I wanted to be perfect like we see on social media. I think a lot of people don't understand the accessibility that our generation has to social media and seeing everything in comparison. So I internalized that with my body issues, creating things like eating disorders and other things that your girls might be struggling with that you don't know about. And I don't tell you all of this to, like I said, to blame softball in any way. I just want to create an awareness so that you know if you see your kids struggling, you can have a little bit of understanding of maybe where they're coming from, or the background, or how to relate to them. I want us to take ownership as a community, being able to facilitate an environment where girls can have fun with softball while also dealing with the pressures of creating a scholarship. Even today, being on an ATU team and going off to college, I don't have all the answers, and I still struggle with those confidence issues. But I just hope that if we can talk about these issues candidly, and we can get in the face of our athletes and create a conversation, it'll help ease that pressure so they have fun in the moment instead of always worrying about the future. So.
Thank you for that. I have a question for you. Yeah. When you think about your practice environment, I want full transparency here. I'm your poster girl for what not to do early in my career. I was kind of a grinder. It was about winning, be more, do more, and really, I think at times probably sucked the life out of our student athletes' practice environment. When you think about when you're on a team, you've got practice, how can we get better at getting you and your teammates involved? Because I think as coaches, where we're going to see a shift in teaching is greater engagement with them being a part of your process. So can you talk about that? I know in school, how you learn. Speak to us a little bit. Give us some secrets here because we're the old people and we need some insight from you.
Well, you made a great comment. In school now, everything's group oriented. Everything is about doing this together because it prepares you better for the workforce. And what I really like in our practices is there is, obviously you're going to get frustrated and sometimes you're going to yell at someone to make that who makes a mistake, and that's natural. What I love at my coach is after a couple minutes of cooling down, he always comes to you and instigates a conversation about why he said what he did and asks if they understand. I think a lot of the times it's a one-way conversation where the coach is telling the girl to do something when a lot of the times we might not even know what it is you're talking about, but we shake our head because we don't want to get yelled at anymore. But I think if you can instigate a conversation where they give you feedback saying, hey, what did you mean there, what do you mean, so that they can better implement that in the future, then it creates this kind of relationship that's more comfortable so that when you do tell them something, it's more likely to get done if there's an understanding and a two-way communication rather than just an authority figure yelling at someone who's beneath them and hoping that it gets done. I think if you can create a way to have a communication, it's going to be more successful and less stressful for you as a coach.
One of the things that you can use that's been really successful in a lot of teams is what we call a confidence circle. After every practice, instead of you having to recognize everybody's progress, you put it on your players. So you come together after practice, and instead of you identifying what infield, outfield, pitchers, catchers did, you turn it to them and pick somebody on your team. Hey, Colleen, what did the catchers do well today? Hey, Jess, what did the middle infield do well? And now the pressure's not on us as the college coaches or the travel ball coaches or high school coaches, and it allows your players to actually start paying attention to everything. So part of the panel's goal when we talked about it was, let's not just talk at you about what you need to do, but maybe give suggestions that you can actually implement starting today. Because we know when you get to championship play, everything gets around a little bit more tight. Colin, I want to ask you another question. Championship play, they're all in. This is the best of the best. They're in now championship play. Speaking from a coach, I want you to be even better. And I want you to understand even more. And sometimes they will yell more. But that doesn't work. talk to me, what can I do? What can we do in these moments where now the value of the game goes up? How can I be better with you to keep you loose?
I think as an athlete, we understand the intensity of the games that we're putting in these situations, and we tend to put even more pressure on ourselves than sometimes our coaches do. I think a coach's job, more than anything, is to keep a little bit more level and instill in confidence, because what you've done is you've prepared for this moment, and no last minute, hitting session or ground ball is going to fix anything that you haven't done before. It's the preparation that gets you to this moment. I think that's what's important, is that at this time, it's about the coaches being able to play and instilling the confidence that they have the preparation, like that confidence you're talking about with the bridge, that they have done everything that they need to do to get here. And now it's about them just being able to play and enjoy the moment and enjoy the competition. And I think if you set that down rather than yelling at them or wanting them to do more, allowing them to just kind of play how their body naturally plays, you're going to get a better result.
And to Lisa, representing those parents, like in the bleachers and stuff, how can we as coaches do a better job of explaining that when she's up to the plate, when we give mechanical instructions, probably doesn't help that much? Any thoughts about how our parents can maybe just sit and watch the movie called softball versus yelling at their kid from a parent perspective, because you know what that's like being a kid.
Well, we all do it. We try to give our kids instructions, and and the coaches are also doing it. So if the coaches are doing it and the parents are doing it, and your daughter's already thinking of what she has to do, it's most likely just too much already. So as a parent, towards recent years, we decided just to lay back and let her do her thing.
Yeah.
So, I just think these girls, they already know what they're supposed to do. Your advice during that bat is not saying meaningless. Maybe the gameplay after they get on base is more meaningful, but during the at bat, I think they already got so much in their head. They already know what to do. Emma at 8 years old was making plays and doing things that I had no idea where she was. So at 8 years old, 10 years old, they already know what to do. So if we keep just talking to them during that bats and being gameplay, I think it's just too much.
And I think it's important to use the panel as a resource for you, as a coach, to be able to say, hey, we listened to a panel and they're recommending that right now they're doing the studies that the student athletes are asking for quiet during the game. They're not even looking for instructional comments, because before she steps in the box, her head is so busy as it is. So that can be something that we can also help guide our parents. And part of the job for us in the Health and Wellness Consortium is to provide some standards and some guidelines for your parents, because we all love our children, but sometimes we need to kind of guide our parents along the way. I'd like to get Dr. Cooper's perspective on the parents that you've dealt with, and how are some of the things that we're working on right now with them to help them be better sport parents, to educate our coaches here.
Yes, so the perfectionism, now it's something that this generation is adopting for themselves. In previous generations, we used to turn to the parents and say, we're seeing potentially a causal link here, not necessarily with this generation. They're driving it themselves. However, the parents feel the pressure from their kids to be the perfect parent. They're all just one click, one resource away from helping their children achieve the standards that they're putting on themselves. So now this pressure cooker it's an entirely different formula, if you will. So perfectionism now is almost driven by the children, related to their social media and technological exposure, but the parents are feeling the pressure to keep up. So my best advice to the coaches and to the leagues is to set very clear behavioral guidelines for your parents, and then those that are unable to follow them really shouldn't be on site because of the added pressure to everyone else around them. And so I'm pretty clear about that recommendation, but that's just
Yes, thank you. I want to give you another tip. I'm a stealer of ideas. I had a travel ball dad come up to me and he said, I have an answer because on game day I'm really competitive. And I want the best for my team, I want the best for my kid. And I learned how to be a better sport parent. And this can be something that you may want to recommend people on your team. They ask themselves, am I a positive addition or a negative addition? And this dad said to me, I realized I was a negative addition to the stadium each day. So I put myself in right field, beyond the fence, and that way I don't affect anybody in a negative way. Some people are just wired to not be able to put a filter on it, right? We know those people. We call those bottom thirds, right? They're just 24/7 spewing them. But maybe that's something that you can ask your parents. You know, are you adding or taking away from that experience from your daughter? And let's maybe find a spot for you. Maybe it's somewhere else, not right there behind home plate. Both down your throat at third base or first base, or even down the umpire's throat. So maybe quick little tips for you as coaches to put in the back of your mind. I want to share with you one quick tip before we go into the interactive part of this panel where we're actually going to be polling you. Is Coach William taught me early in my career where I was still just coaching incorrectly. I wasn't coaching process. I wasn't identifying their process. I was fixated on results. He said there are days that you're going to go to the park where you have to protect the kids from yourself. There are days you go to the park where you have to protect the kids from yourself, meaning there are days where your well is low. You can't stand that kid, she's not throwing strikes. You can't stand the whiner at first base because it's never right. You can't stand the girl that's not feeling... And Papa Wood used to always say, those are days you got to protect the kids from yourself and make sure that your job is to be their engineer of belief. Be the coach that is the engineer of belief. And we call it a confidence bridge. And the confidence bridge is this. Monday through Friday, you must document and catch them doing it right. Because you have a lot of knowledge. You know what we're doing wrong, but we've got to catch them doing it right. Monday through Friday, I document what you're doing right. On game day, when you feel the pressure, let's both be where your feet are. Dude, I feel you right now. We got a runner at 2. We got a chance here to go ahead. This is what I know about you. And then you relay what they did Monday through Friday. Just remember 3 things in that pressure moment before you call timeout. You go to her, you reflect, go where her feet are, what's the play calling for, and this is the differentiator. Be the coach that projects success. And I'll see you on the other side of that RBI. Because in all my experience, I never had a student athlete say, I couldn't stand my coach because he or she believed in me too much. So if we can always remember that, replay their success, be where their feet are, and project success. Because that's going to teach her to fall in love with the game. And if they love the game, they'll stay longer in the game. So what we're going to do, we're going to give
I know that outcomes are real, and I think a lot of everyone got a trophy generation, there was a backlash movement because people were like, oh wait, now we're developing kids who are soft and they think they're always going to win. And so people didn't know what to do with that. And I like to then vote. We need to teach our kids that, yeah, outcomes are real, and you might be disappointed sometimes. But it's that process side that if you help them learn how to set 3 process goals for every 1 outcome goal in advance, then yeah, they can be disappointed in 1 outcome and yet still pleased and proud of the process side because you help teach them that as well. And that is where the self-esteem tank can get filled up and they learn how to tolerate disappointment. And that's where resiliency comes from. So just remember 3 process goals for every 1 outcome goal. I believe we sent you a flyer on that with the materials. And my handle is at Dr. Casey Cooper, so feel free to message me and I will always respond. Thank you.
And these are closing thoughts. Anything that you've got there that you want to make sure that everybody hears?
What I would ask of you coaches is to listen to your players, connect with them, engage, not just softball talk, personal stuff. Ask how they're doing in school. Connect with them. Their mental health is so much more important than their physical when it comes to this game. This is a mental game. So one thing I want to point out, and I hope they don't mind over there, two of them as coaches are here. And one thing that they have done, because this has touched them, is just a few weeks ago they hosted, it was an invitational with with Dr. Casey to talk to these girls about personal best versus perfection. And they are also doing something in a few weeks. It's a clinic, it's Empowerment Forum. So those things are important. Greg, I hope you don't mind that I called you out. Greg and I over there from the Firecrackers Hold-Up Night. That's amazing what they're doing. I don't know if you know a psychologist, a sports psychologist, get someone, college players, to talk to these girls. And, we need to, it's okay to not be okay. Talk to us. Listen to them.
Louis, I would love for you to just share just a closing thought, just one or two things that we can hang on to. I know that means a lot to all of us.
Well, to go along with Lisa, we can easily talk to our daughters as a coach or just players about their at-bat, about their swing, about their fielding, their lessons and all that. But as a coach, we need to start talking to them more personally. They're more than just a softball player.
That's it. It's outstanding. That's the most important thing. And when we talked yesterday, he said, if we could just get everyone to remind them, these are young girls. We love their backhand. But Coach Wood used to always say 6 words, Dad. I love to watch you play. 6 words, Coach. And we always remember at the end, I love to watch you play. Because that hits home with them. Not about their swing, but I just love to watch you play. I just want to take a moment before I give you the closing thoughts. The courage both of you had. When we talked to you, you said, what do you think? And they're like, yeah, we want to come, we want to tell the story, we want to get this head on. I just want to thank you. The courage it takes to sit up here and talk about this in the middle of it. We were just months away from our new angel up there. So I just want to say thank you again to both of you, how much we appreciate you. Please join me in thanking them. No pressure, but we want to end the note on you, and you're gonna explain to us how we can get you to put that phone down just for like a minute and have eye contact, right? Closing thoughts, seriously, closing thoughts.
Well, all that together, I would just want to go off of what they said. Just creating a conversation with your players has been one of the biggest things that I found with my coach currently. I feel respected when you have a conversation about what you're thinking and what you want us to do, and that I feel like I'm involved in this rather than I'm carrying out somebody's wishes. And I think if you can create a conversation on the field, it's going to be a lot easier if you guys can engage off the field too, for us to come to you with things that we need or whatever's going on. But if you can just create a relationship by getting someone's face and having a conversation with them in either capacity, I think it's going to be beneficial for both parties. So that's all that I would take away.
Thank you. I'd also like to indulge for a minute because I just looked over the camera and shoulder. I think I see Mike Stiff here. Mike Stiff, I just want to thank you for being the one that brought us together to get Clock off the ground so you all have a health and wellness group that's going to provide information for you. On behalf of all of those brands that are here today, thank you for taking the time. We are here for you. If you need anything, please feel free to call me. Most of you probably have my cell phone already. If you don't, I've always given it away. But at the end of the day, Sue at onesoftball.com. I want to thank you for teaching them how to love to prepare. Thank you for teaching them that the little things matter. Thank you for managing throughout this whole process that the game doesn't know what color skin they have, how much money is in their pocket. Thank you for teaching them that they can do more and be more. But most importantly, thank you for caring at the end of the day. And may this panel just be one little asset you have as you go forward. And in closing, may this week be one where they lay off the rise ball, and as always, they get the ball down. Be easy on the umpires. Good luck this week, everybody. Thanks.